We're here in the largest sea cave in North America and one of the largest in the world, and we came here to see the sea lions.
Yeah, so we're going to be checking out the sea lion cave on this episode of Roaming with Rosie.
We had a sunny September day to drive the 92 miles up the Oregon coast from Cape Blanco State Park near Port Orford to Jesse M. Honeyman State Park in Florence. This would be our next campsite during our travels to the Pacific Northwest. We met up with my cousins Greg and Marianne and their dog Sadie at Honeyman State Park. They had traveled this route before, but were anxious to share the places they love to visit now that we were both Class A motorhome travelers. Hello!
Hello, how are you, cuz? Oh, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Hello.
Absolutely.
Party can get started.
Yeah, I bought some pink sparkly stuff. Yay. You'll be seeing them alongside us in upcoming videos as we continue north along this beautiful coast. We still had sunshine the next day, so we headed out to look for the local elk. The Dean Creek Elk Viewing Area is 22 miles south of the campground near the town of Reedsport. The drive took us through the small town of Reedsport and the Umpqua Riverfront area, which are really lovely. This is where every Father's Day weekend they hold the Oregon Divisional Chainsaw Sculpting Championships, which is something we'd really love to come back here for. But today, we were on the lookout for elk and learn about their natural area. There are 2 spots to watch them from within a large parking lot. We were fortunate that the elk were out there today. They were a little too far away to capture well with a GoPro camera. However, we were able to zoom in with our phones so we could share this with you. This area along the Umpqua River is managed by the Bureau of Land Management. This series of pastures here are a year-round residence for a herd of 60 to 100 Roosevelt elk. This is also a great birding area. Next, we headed to nearby Winchester Bay for some sightseeing. There are some excellent RV parks right next to the water that we took note of for future travel and we wanted to show you as well. There's Windy Cove Park and Campground and Fisherman's RV Park, which seems to be geared for those wanting to fish, crab, or ride their ATVs on the nearby dunes. They offer dry camping all the way up to full hookups. The county also operates a campground, which is basically a parking lot for self-contained RVs for $25 to $30 a night, and they do have a dump station. The nicest park is the Winchester Bay RV Resort. We took a drive through it to check it out. There's many waterfront sites here with full hookups that can be reserved daily or weekly during the summer and up to monthly in the winter season. Winchester Bay is also known for seriously fresh-caught crab and seafood, and there's several restaurants over at Salmon Harbor. We chose Krabby's Bar and Grill on the Water to have lunch. So we're at Krabby's in Winchester Bay, which is south of Honeyman State Park. So you're at Krabby's, but you're having a burger.
Yeah, I'm not crabby.
Steamers. Yum. Great steamers. And garlic bread.
Ooh, I got the garlic bread. And Greg got
Garlic biscuit and clam chowder in a bread bowl.
I got the amber, and that one is the
Didn't we talk about this?
cream ale.
The cream ale is delicious.
And I had a cup of clam chowder and a whole crap load of garlic bread. All the fishermen are gone, and now he came out. Look, he's floating his tail and everything. His flippers. Just cruising along. Ooh. He's trying to get you to throw him stuff. He's posing. Look at him. He's doing that. He's like, throw me something. That's exactly what he's doing. It's a trick he's learned here. You've learned a trick.
He's looking at you.
I know. And he's like going like that to like, throw me something. Right next door at Salmon Harbor Tackle and Charter Service, they supply everything you need to catch your own. Much like we saw in Bandon, Oregon, crabbers can bring their fresh catch and have it cooked perfectly for them.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yum. Nearby is Umpqua Lighthouse State Park, which overlooks a portion of the Oregon Dunes recreation area. We came to visit the museum and tour the lighthouse, which is operated by Umpqua Valley Museums. This local nonprofit also operates the nearby Douglas County Museum.
Back in the day, the ocean was right here at this cliff. And so all the boats were trying to get to the Umpqua River over there. The problem that they ran into though was the boats all trying to get to the Umpqua River, they would get high centered on the sandbars. If that happened, you would send the keeper and his two assistants out with rowboats to try and get you off those sandbars, which didn't always work real well. So the cliff over there would have gone straight down to where the Umpqua River and the ocean would meet at the point. And that's where they built the first lighthouse in 1859.
Oh, really?
Now, they built it directly on the sand. And so it kept getting undercut, and the lighthouse kept tipping over. So in 1864, after they had taken everything out of it, they just let it fall in the ocean and wash out to sea. In 1889, they got permission to build this one. Only we're sitting 100 feet above sea level up here on this rock cliff. So they went over to Hasita Head, which is also built on a rock cliff. They got their plans. So this building and Hasita Head look exactly the same. 1889 they built it, they lit it up 1894. So the big question was, which one's older? Who lit up their light first? And we're going by, yeah, but we lit up in 1859, so grandfather-wise, we're older.
I love that skeleton up there.
Yeah, they're all decorated for Halloween.
That is too cool. I love lighthouses.
Cool.
Alright, so this room is considered the workroom. This is where the keeper and assistants would have spent their nights. There's a picture in the museum of a whole stack of books in that corner. There would have been an easy chair right in front of this fireplace. If you've seen a grandfather clock,
Yeah.
and you know they have weights, and as the weights come down, that turns your hands to make it keep time. Well, if you turn that sideways, you put a 200-pound weight on a 59-foot metal rope. As that comes down, it will turn that 4,500-pound lens up there, and it will go. Now, from out in the ocean, you can't see that. It looks like a nice smooth circle. If you're here, you can see it just little increments and it's moving. Well, it'll bottom out on that 59-foot rope every 70 minutes. So there's a picture of the second assistant who had to go wind that rope back up every 70 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So if you do look inside that window right there, you can see how many layers of brick there are to get to the outside of that window. Which is why, yeah, there's no rebar or no reinforcement. It's all just brick. But you would have been looking for ships in distress out there.
The lighthouse is open for tours May through September. Thank you.
I'll start heading.
After the lighthouse tour, we headed back to the main building, which is the former lifeboat station and then a Coast Guard station. It's now a museum showcasing the history of the lighthouse and the Coast Guard here. Inside this museum, you'll find hundreds of documents, photographs, and collections about the building's service here, as well as prior history of the area. Self-righting 44-foot motor lifeboat. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Self-righting.
Oh yeah, there you go. See?
The people on board aren't self-righting though. So at one point, World War II, they had 100 people staying in this small building. I can't imagine how they did that. During World War II, the Coast Guard staff was increased here so they could patrol the coast. Japanese vessels and mines were discovered more than a few times. They patrolled by ship, by foot, and even by horseback along the beaches. So this is the 1950s room, and here's the 1940s. There's also a cafe and gift shop here. These are fundraising arms of the museum. The gift shop is well stocked with local wines, apparel, and collectibles. And the cafe is highly recommended for their clam chowder, sandwiches, salads, and especially their bakery. There's a link in the description of this video. The drizzly fog we'd been dreading reared its head the next day, so Jamie and I decided we would visit a cave, specifically the Sea Lion Caves located just 15 miles north of our campground. This is a cavern open to the ocean and is a haven for wild sea lions. We'd heard a lot about them and wanted to see them. But it's important to know that the sea lions are generally only inside the cave in late fall and winter and maybe early spring. During the rest of the time, they hang out on the rocky ledges outside the cave where they breed and have their young, which, if it hadn't been so foggy, we would have been able to see them outside the cave. Oh my goodness. Literally less than a minute ago, I could see out there just fine. So we've got passing fog. I went inside to get the GoPro ready for rain. It is waterproof, but I had some things plugged into it that were not. So we're gonna take the elevator. If we can find the elevator. So we didn't come to the sea lion caves at the best time of year either. The sea lions are out here from, what'd she say, from December to August?
Yeah.
So
we came with a no sea lion day to the sea lion cave.
and no sea day. Can't see the sea.
Yeah, because it's all fogged in. So we picked the perfect day to come and visit stuff.
Yeah. So we knew today was going to be rainy, but we thought we'd be inside. But most of the sea lions are out now, and they're feeding until December. So right now we're taking a very steep route.
So it's 12% grade.
A 12% grade down to the elevator. I just thought it was an elevator from up in the main building, so I'll have to find out if there's wheelchair access, at least to this point, somewhere up above. They do offer a discounted rate during these off seasons, and you can return anytime within a year for free to try again. Knowing this, we still wanted to go in the cave. The gift shop is perched on a cliff 300 feet above sea level, so there was going to be some walking in the drizzle down a steep slope to begin. Okay, so what do we got here? Oh, it could be subject to an earthquake, erosion, or landslide.
That's good.
Nice. Alrighty. Oh, I think I see a seal. Yeah, I see flippers. down over there. You probably can't see it with the GoPro. Actually, I don't know if it's seals or if it's dolphins.
It's a seal.
Is it?
Yeah.
I see 2 or 3 of them out there, hanging out close to home. This slope leads you to an elevator that was put in 1961. Great, it's as old as we are. But it was finished in time for the Seattle World's Fair in 1962, which brought a lot of visitors this way. Is there a button to push? It stinks in here. Is that forewarning of what it's going to smell like in the cave?
Yeah. To see nature, you got to deal with stink, unfortunately.
Nature stinks.
There are no showers out in nature.
The elevator descends 208 feet and takes less than a minute to bring you to sea level. 100 feet down. Oh, that's counting. 80 feet to go. This is much better than the original 135-step wooden stairway that was built in 1930. The caves officially opened to the public in 1932, although it would be 1936 before there was a proper road. Whoa. Ew. I'm like the most sensitive to something that smells bad of anyone Jamie's ever met. The elevator opened and I'm like, oh God.
Just below the Sea Lion Caves lookout. This area, called the rookery, is where they breed and tend to their young pups. This area, called the rookery, is where they breed and tend to their young pups.
There's a lot of steps in here, so again, not accessible for anyone that isn't able to do the stairs.
We're here in the Sea Lion Cave and checking out the cave. Cave is pretty cool, but today I feel like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park when he said, "You do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur island, right?" Today there's no sea lions. But the cave is interesting within itself, but it would have been cool to see sea lions here, but it's not the season.
The Sea Lion Caves is a privately owned wildlife preserve and bird sanctuary. It's part of the Oregon Cape Perpetua Marine Reserve, helping to protect marine animals and the marine environment. This is the only known breeding area and wintering home of the Steller sea lion and, to a lesser extent, the California sea lion. These caves are the largest sea grotto in America and one of the few places along the west coast where the population of Steller sea lions is increasing. Since 1942, this same 3 families have operated the Sea Lion Caves. Quite a shock coming out of the cave. The light reflecting off the fog always makes it a little brighter. So was it worth going in the sea cave even though there was no sea lions this time of year?
Yeah, it was still neat to see. There was a lot of good information down there, and the cave itself is pretty interesting. It would have been great to see the sea lions, because that's kind of what it was all about, but the cave itself was really interesting. And they made it interesting with a lot of neat information down there, so yeah, it was well worth it.
And we have seen an occasional seal or sea lion down here flipping around, but now the fog came in even more, so we can barely see the ocean. On our next travel episode, we'll continue our visit to this part of the Oregon coast. We'll take you on a scenic drive to Cape Perpetua and visit the Hecata Head Lighthouse, the twin sister of the Umpqua River Lighthouse. We'll grab a fresh seafood dinner from one of the famous Moe's restaurants here and show you some highlights of Jesse M. Honeyman State Park.
We really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you found it helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you'd share it with your friends and family on social media. And if you're not yet a subscriber, make sure and hit that subscribe button.
And as always, hit that little bell because that way you'll be notified whenever we upload new content.
And make sure to leave a comment, that way you could be part of the conversation.
Until next time,
We'll see ya.
ya.